The streets are teeming with unemployed individuals, overwhelmed by mounting debts that seem impossible to escape. Hospitals across the nation are inundated with patients suffering from strokes, brain hemorrhages, and heart attacks, raising urgent questions about what has gone so terribly wrong. The economic landscape has deteriorated to an alarming degree, casting a shadow of uncertainty over daily life. Once thriving business ventures, even those deemed profitable, are now crumbling under the weight of financial strain. Prices that stood at around 5 yuan just days ago have plummeted to a mere 3 yuan and 50 cents, resulting in staggering losses exceeding 20,000 yuan. Such low prices were unheard of back in 2016, yet here we are, on September 13, 2025, facing a grim reality. The logistics sector, once the pulsating heart of Linyi, the so-called logistics capital, now lies eerily silent, a stark contrast to its former days of bustling activity and constant movement. Job searches have become a relentless struggle, with countless applications submitted through platforms like Boss Zipin and Alipay, alongside efforts to find part-time work and connect with various groups, yet responses remain non-existent, all marked as unread. Financial reserves have dwindled to just over 1,000 yuan, leaving many hesitant to return home this year, the atmosphere thick with despair. Migrant workers endure grueling conditions, toiling without pay as their children's school terms begin, with no assistance forthcoming. From morning to afternoon, the situation persists unresolved, despite multiple police visits that yield no action. Even prestigious hotels have resorted to discounting braised meat, while rows of houses stand abandoned, emptied of residents, with another group departing just this morning. The crisis extends to educational institutions, as evidenced by Dalian Science and Technology College, where staff payments have ceased entirely. This university, home to over 10,000 students, is burdened with a staggering 3.5 billion yuan debt, its accounts frozen by the courts, leaving the whereabouts of those funds a mystery. The anxiety is palpable, with many losing sleep past 2 a.m., grappling with the daily costs of children's tutoring, home and car loans, and the inability to secure stable employment. This year's sense of crisis surpasses last year's, intensified by reports of wholesale markets, once vibrant with water-vegetable trade, seeing 13 or 14 businesses shut down. Even a respected figure like Zhao Jiangxi, known for premium goods, has withdrawn, signaling that neither high-quality nor cheap products can withstand the economic downturn. Many are packing up, returning to their hometowns in defeat. Experts advocate for economic stimulation through consumption, yet restaurants sit empty, malls see no shoppers, markets lack visitors, and houses and cars go unsold despite aggressive promotions. Conversations with suppliers, be it processing factories, gold stamping plants, or embossing workshops, reveal a unanimous lament. This is the worst business year in decades. The unemployment tide swells, particularly felt in Shanghai, where individuals unemployed for over 4 months roam jobless. High-paying industries, once offering 80,000 or 100,000 yuan monthly, now struggle to provide roles paying 20,000 or 30,000 yuan. A Didi driver from Hunan navigating unfamiliar Shanghai roads faces passenger complaints, earning a few thousand yuan monthly while burdened by rent, fees, and fines, planning a move to Chengdu next month. The pressure is suffocating. China's economy continues its relentless decline, affecting every sector. Online closures and unemployment surges are on the rise, with factories halting operations and shops shutting their doors. Once bustling city streets are now lined with closed storefronts, unemployment rampant. Online videos depict a nation where both ordinary citizens and graduating students face joblessness, with some mainland residents noting that this wave has driven many into desperate straits. Experts caution of economic collapse, social unrest, and a lack of livelihood, predicting a surge in civil incidents that could herald a broader uprising. Reports indicate that nearly 90% of young people nationwide are dissatisfied with their job prospects, with nearly half opting to lie flat or abandon hope, feeling life has lost all meaning. Despite technological advancements often highlighted in the news, the average person's life grows increasingly exhausting, less joyful than decades past. In Harbin, life has become unsustainable, jobs scarce and layoffs common, while a 30-year-old internet worker finds themselves optimized out of a job at a 2,700-employee company that once promised stability. This firm, boasting 60 billion yuan in revenue, has laid off staff after 10 months, leaving manufacturing in peril. Investment in factories has dried up, with hundreds of machines standing idle for weeks, large factories exiting the market, and small to medium enterprises collapsing, one after another. These machines, some unused for months or never operational, symbolize a sector on the brink. University graduates, having invested 300,000 yuan and 4 years of study, struggle to find even 3,000 yuan jobs, while new graduates turn to temporary roles like logistics or hospital front desk work out of necessity. The job market offers little hope, with stable employment a rare achievement. At 7:30 p.m., restaurants like Lin Yi and Ping Hung operate as stalls, while Renhua Hotel runs without lights. Tourism in Chang'an Street, even with free entry at Tianmen Mountain, draws few visitors, and tourism buses earn nothing. Changyang resident Mr. Zhao reports young people sleeping on streets in major city stations and squares, some in despair. In Beijing, Shanghai, Guangzhou, and Shenzhen, youth linger under bridges and in parks. This unemployment crisis, worsened by 3 years of zero-COVID policies stalling exports, consumption, and investment, erasing 10,000 jobs, combined with U.S.-China trade tensions and corporate relocations, has skyrocketed youth unemployment. The economic collapse, marked by massive local debts and a lack of livelihood, sees rising suicides. With workers denied wage claims and rights, freedom, and democracy vilified, the root blamed on an oppressive system rather than external forces. Many people in China can no longer afford to put food on the table. Ordinary citizens at the bottom of society find their opportunities for survival crushed to the point of near extinction. People are left helpless. By 6:30 in the evening, if one hasn't secured work or income, there is nothing left to do but go home empty-handed. Each day, workers wait in vain for a chance, yet most return with nothing. The economy has deteriorated drastically compared to years past. What is presented today is little more than a facade, a performance of false prosperity. Beneath the bright lights and slogans lies exhaustion and despair. On the streets, delivery workers rush to complete orders, some with young children strapped to their backs. They have no choice. This generation sacrifices itself while uncertain whether the next will fare any better. At 3 in the morning in Shanghai, countless people can be seen sleeping beneath elevated highways and bridges, clustered together with no shelter. Dozens of couriers, stripped of even the dignity of a tent, lay side by side in the open air. The sight is heartbreaking. Rural elders live a starkly different fate. Some dance in city squares to pass their final years, while others in the countryside bend over discarded bottles just to collect enough for a meal. Asked what happens when illness and weakness arrive, one farmer responded, without hesitation, "I'll drink pesticide." Such words cut through the heart like a blade. In crowded elevators and cramped apartments, young people break down under the weight of despair. One 30-year-old, too poor to afford medical care, chose to give up his life after years of suffering. Even the cost of a hospital trip was out of reach. Friends tried to help but soon realized one-time assistance cannot undo systemic hopelessness. When survival itself requires impossible choices, the meaning of life becomes unbearably fragile. Meanwhile, China's broader economy worsens by the day. Real estate has collapsed, companies shut down en masse, foreign capital withdraws rapidly, and unemployment remains at record highs. People cannot find work, cannot buy food, and end up sleeping rough. Yet in this climate of desperation, the government spends lavishly on parades and vanity projects. The most recent military parade is estimated to have cost 36 billion yuan, while Beijing also pledged another 2 billion yuan in unconditional aid to foreign allies. The contradiction has ignited public anger. Stories of suffering echo in every workplace. Middle-aged men and women, loyal employees for decades, are dismissed overnight. At 45 or 47, they are told they are too old to be hired elsewhere, as companies set arbitrary age limits of 35. With no income, they cannot eat. Some rely on the kindness of shopkeepers who quietly slip them food. Others drink cheap liquor to numb their exhaustion, though even alcohol becomes unaffordable. The fatigue is overwhelming. Society itself feels worn down. Small businesses face collapse. Restaurants, supermarkets, and shops, once packed with customers at year's end, now stand empty. The festive rush has vanished, replaced by silence. The economy continues to tighten, and people openly beg for 30 yuan just to buy a meal after going a full day without eating. Hunger forces them to approach strangers with shame and desperation. Elderly residents admit they go months without eating meat. Some have not tasted meat since the Lunar New Year. For them, the cost of even a few cuts of pork is insurmountable. In Chengdu at 4 in the morning, thousands gather in open lots to seek day labor. Work is now called finding a road to live. By dawn, groups of men with hard hats and weathered bags crowd together, hoping to be chosen. Some succeed. Most are left standing as vehicles drive away. Competition turns bitter as workers jostle and argue for even the smallest chance. 1 yuan, 1 job, 1 more day alive. Everything is bargained for in the open air. Factories continue to collapse in waves. The post-pandemic landscape is one of shuttered workshops and endless layoffs. On August 29, a video from Guangdong showed a single trash bin rummaged through 3 times within 20 minutes. Online commentators lamented that this is the true reflection of modern China. People no longer fear foreign humiliation, but rather the humiliation of being unable to survive in their own country. Homelessness spreads. Beggars line city streets, changing faces every day as new ones appear. Disabled men hang buckets around their necks, begging for digital payments through QR codes taped to the containers. Elderly women hand over coins but admit they do not know how to scan. The image of high-tech poverty, begging by barcode, is a grotesque paradox of modern China. On city sidewalks, nearly 80-year-old men faint from hunger while still insisting they must work to eat. Others, newly laid off, exhaust their last few hundred yuan chasing non-existent opportunities. At small food stalls, dismissed workers plead to buy the cheapest meal possible with their final 3 yuan. Occasionally, sympathetic owners quietly prepare them a dish, though both sides know such charity cannot last. At dawn, men wait by roadsides, selling themselves for any kind of labor. Some are chosen, most are not. They stand silently as trucks depart, watching the chance of survival slip away. Sleep is scarce, food scarcer still. The strain breaks even the strongest. Yet in this bleak environment, the state continues to pour billions into foreign aid. Last year, Xi Jinping pledged 360 billion yuan over 3 years to Africa, continuing a decades-long policy of buying influence abroad. Critics call it money thrown into the sea while citizens at home starve. Observers warn that this is not generosity but political theater, purchases of loyalty from impoverished regimes willing to echo Beijing's propaganda. The goal is not to help others, but to preserve the image of power while Chinese citizens remain trapped in hardship. Even highly educated graduates, masters and PhD holders, now resort to food delivery work to survive. This is the reality beneath the surface of prosperity. The facade of stability masks widespread despair. Ordinary people struggle daily just to eat, to find shelter, to keep dignity alive. What is promoted abroad as strength is, for countless Chinese families, experienced as relentless decline.